Hi there, welcome back to my channel, The Average Trader. This is the first real video that I'm making outside of the intro. So as I suggested in the intro, I just want to explain to you how I come to the decision to call this channel The Average Trader. So as I suggested before, I'm a coach for a Trade Happy prop firm. And they have a Discord forum, and what I noticed was that the Discord forum is full of people desperately trying to find an entry indicator, entry strategy, develop a strategy that they're comfortable with. And it seems to me that, from my experience, that it's more important to know how to manage your money, trade management, money management, and just make sure that your head is right, your head's in the game when you're trading. And that as far as strategy is concerned, you can almost trade anything, almost, not quite, but almost. You need an edge, you do need an edge, but you don't have to be too specific with your entry trading strategy. And everyone seems to be searching for that. So I came up with the idea of starting this channel just to show that really your focus should be on money management. And to do that, I gave it some thought, and I thought, how can I really strip my charts back so that I can show people that you don't need to focus on strategy. So I thought, what does everyone else do on YouTube? I scoured YouTube. Obviously I'm the same as you. I look at all the trading channels and see what's available, and I came to the decision almost that everyone, or yeah, pretty much almost everyone, focuses on things like break and retests and candlestick patterns and indicators and algorithms and all sorts of really complicated, from quite simple to really complicated, but it's always about structure and support and resistance and stuff like that, and how the banks are manipulating the market and all that kind of stuff, and whatever's trendy at the time. Whatever one person starts a trend on, everyone seems to jump on the bandwagon. And I didn't want this channel to be about that. I want it to be different. So how could I make it different? I decided the best idea to simplify everything and make it different was just to strip my charts completely, get rid of candlesticks, and just use moving averages. Hence the reason I'm calling the channel The Average Trader, because all I intend on trading for this challenge is moving averages. So I was talking to one of the coders at Trade Happy, prop firm, and they suggested, well, why don't you do something really simple, like just put two moving averages on your screen, and if they're both pointing in the same direction, enter the market. And I thought, yeah, that sounds a pretty good idea. It's simple, it's easy to understand. Why not give it a go? And then I could focus most of my time on managing the trade and my money, and talking about psychology and mindset and how to make sure that my head's right when I'm trading. So I set about doing this, and so basically this is a 5 SMA, this is a 60 SMA, and basically the idea is I wait for the 5 to cross, and as soon as it does, providing both are pointing in the same direction, I'd take the trade and I'd look for a 1-to-1. So simple. We got the direction, and I should say I was using the 5-minute chart, the 5-minute time frame. So we have direction from the 60 SMA, and we have momentum because we're looking for sharp downward movement, in this case because we're bearish. Sharp moves from the 5 SMA. So we have momentum, we have general direction of the trend. Enter the trade and we look for 1-to-1, and that was fine. I was fairly happy with that. I was fairly happy to go ahead with that. But then I started to think, well, is it enough? Have I got enough edge with that? I know I've got momentum. and I've got the trend direction, but is there quite enough edge? And I thought, well, maybe there is, maybe there isn't. And then I started to consider, could I go for more than 1-to-1? Could I use a trailing stop and try and catch the entire trend? So I started using, I'm just going to put it on now. Oops, indicator list, no, it's not what we want. I started using, what am I doing? Sorry about the pause. I started using this grid indicator that one of the coders created for me. Okay, so the basic principle now was, as soon as I spotted this momentum and the trend direction, I'd wait for the next grid line and I would enter on that grid line. So for instance here, we can see we've got momentum, and it's just starting to move down. It moved down. I was comfortable that it was going down here. So now we're just waiting for the next grid line to cross, which would be this one. And it's crossed here. And I'd use this as a stop, the previous grid line as a stop. And as soon as we hit this first grid line, I'd move to break even. And then I'll just follow the trade down until eventually you get stopped out. And that was working quite well. That does work quite well. And I think there's a bit of an edge there for me. But I was just looking for a bit more. And I happened to go into, I think it's YouTube, it might have been Google, but I think it was YouTube. And I just put a search in for using moving averages only on your charts. And eventually I came up with this video. It's called the free ledge system to trade anything. And I thought that sounds really good, that sounds really interesting. It's from Expert Forex, so if you want to go and check it out you can do. Maybe I'll put a link to it in underneath the video. If you're a member of the Discord, Trade Happy Discord, there's definitely a link in there to this video. I've shared it, and it's a really useful video and it's worth looking at. And this strategy is based entirely on moving averages, and he calls it the ledge system. And I thought that would work really well with my previous idea that I'd come up with of this, using these momentum SMA along with trend direction 60 SMA. So what I did, I worked through the video, installed it all, and decided, yep, that's the way I wanted to go. So I'll show you what I did. This is my template. Let's just minimize that. Created this template. I mean, in the future when I'm actually trading, it might not be these colors, but at the moment this is where I am. So I've got the weekly, the daily, 4 hourly, 1 hourly, and then I trade on the 15 minutes. So I create the template, then I created profiles up here. So as you can see, I've got all my profiles for the pairs I want to trade, and this will change no doubt, but it's just the list I've got at the moment, and I can easily flick through them. So I just press Control and F5 and I can swap through, go through my profiles. As you can see, just really quick shortcut, so I can scour each market really quickly and just see where they're heading. I'll get back to the one I was just on because there was an entry there. I just want to show you it. So here we are. So USD CAD, we can see on the weekly we're clearly trending down. The colours are fanning out nicely, obvious to see. Same with the daily, we're trending down. If we go to the 4 hourly, trending down. Now it's turned just recently on the hourly, so we won't be trading it right now, but as you can see, up until recently it was trading down. And although you can't see it on the 15, which is the entry time frame, it was trading down. So if we just maximize this and just zoom out a bit, you can see that we were in a downtrend. It's ranging at the moment, but we were in this downtrend. And the idea is, when you see these ledges, you just draw a line across where the ledges are, and you wait for price to break those ledges, and you enter the trade. And as you can see, whoops, that's the wrong one. Just bear with me a second. So there's another one there. There's another one here. So you can see they're quite they appear quite often. There's one up here as well. These little ledgers that you can just enter a trade off of. And so right now, this is the strategy that I'm going to use for entry. No candlesticks, just 5 or 6 EMAs that I'm using. Just including the one that gives me trend direction. This 60 SMA, this is just to keep me out of this sort of scenario. So if this is flat, I know I'm in a range, and so I won't want to be entering ledges here, for instance. We've got a ledge, but I won't enter it because the SMA is flat, the 60 SMA is flat. So I'm waiting for it to trend again. So that's a useful extra added tool that it doesn't talk about in the ledge system. But you can see lots of entries, and they all would have been profitable. So it's a good idea. I think it's a really good concept, and that gives me that extra little bit of edge that just makes the difference. Now notice I've just gone over time. I've gone up to 12 minutes now. I didn't want to make this video too long, so I'm going to end it there. But hopefully you've got an idea. I'm going to talk more next time about trade management, in trade management and money management. But hopefully you've got an idea of the strategy that I intend to use. Thanks very much for watching, and I will be back soon with some money management tips and tricks. Thank you.